simpler compared to those of previous popes, honoring his final wishes. He was laid to rest in a plain wooden casket rather than the traditional 3 coffins used for popes before him, even with his humble request. Now, the event drew hundreds of thousands of people to St. Peter's Square in Vatican City as a leader of more than 1 billion Catholics worldwide. Now, the world came together to bid him farewell. Our reporter Elizabeth Thatieno now brings us a vivid glimpse into the celebration that celebrated a life of service.
At 9:30 a.m. Kenyan time, archbishops and bishops began gathering in the Constantine Wing, a corridor adjacent to St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. At the same time, Catholic priests congregated in St. Peter's Square. Then, a funeral procession accompanying the Pope's coffin, which had spent the last 4 days at the center of St. Peter's Basilica, began.
We now begin the procession to the Basilica.
At 11 a.m. Kenyan time, the coffin was laid in the square in front of St. Peter's Basilica, marking the official start of the funeral ceremony. Pope Francis' funeral, though simpler than those of previous popes, was still a spectacle rich in tradition. The burial attracted over 250,000 members of the public and more than 150 heads of state. Guests and dignitaries sat close to the basilica and the coffin, while thousands of clergy and members of the public filled St. Peter's Square. The liturgical attire for bishops and archbishops included the alb, a white tunic held by a traditional cord called a cencher, the amice, which is a short linen cloth covering the neck, a red chasuble, and a solemn cape worn in honor of the Pope. After the service, Pope Francis' body, dressed in a red chasuble and a gold papal mitre, was transported from St. Peter's to the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome for burial. The route crossed the river Tiber and passed by the Colosseum. He will be the first pope since Leo VIII, who died in 1903, to be buried outside the Vatican. This is because he is a Jesuit and a devotee of the Virgin Mary. Pope Francis had requested to be laid to rest in Santa Maria Maggiore, which lies outside the Vatican walls in the heart of Rome. Traditionally, a pope's remains are enclosed the day before the funeral in 3 nested coffins, one made of cypress, symbolizing humility and mortality, a lead coffin welded to preserve and protect, and an outer oak coffin representing dignity and strength. Last year, however, Pope Francis requested a simpler burial, a single wooden coffin with a zinc interior. The service concluded with prayers for Pope Francis and a final commendation and a concluding prayer, formally entrusting the Pope to God. This marks the beginning of a 9-day mourning period during which a memorial service is held each day in his honor. Elizabeth Thatieno, TV 47.